Hello. I hope you all met. Now meet this guy, and of course Daniele and me, Marco. This guy looks like a horse because he was called Bürohengst. Maybe some Germans of you might know what this is. It's the king of the office, but now he's called Eurobot because he helps with bureaucracy. And that was something Daniele. He had a problem with official documents in Germany, and the problem was getting unemployment benefits. We switched. I saw in the meetup that there's still the stats servant, and the idea was first to get official statistics for populist tweets, and we were pretty sure, but we were in agreeing that we wanted AI for the average man, and now Daniele is the example of the average man. The main problem with ChatGPT is that the training ended in September 2021. You all may know something like this. This is a specific question about Hartz IV and Bürgergeld because the switch happened just this year. It changed from Hartz IV to Bürgergeld. ChatGPT doesn't know about it, and that's the thing with ChatGPT and other models which were trained, and then the training stopped, and now they don't know. And then you can combine them with up-to-date knowledge. Here is some Berlin bots. This one is from Arbeitsagentur. This is the agency which Daniele had to deal with. He doesn't even know, he doesn't even understand English. The other one is from Berlin, from the official website of Berlin. He gives you links, and he isn't totally off, but then you get into the rabbit hole of links, and he doesn't really give you an answer. But then there's this thing, and it's a shame that it exists because it's pretty smart. It knows a lot of stuff, but it's quite general. And I think the idea we had, or Daniele had, is that you can upload your papers and you can really get information about unemployment in Berlin and find the documents, and you can download them and even chat with them. But this thing is pretty good in finding stuff, which we tried to incorporate but didn't do till now, but there's some experiments. So why all of this? Because bureaucracy is a bitch, and there's even a law which was adopted in August, just last month. It's called the Bürokratie-Entlastungsgesetz, which means bureaucracy relief law. And yeah, that's telling. It's a problem. It's bureaucracy is producing costs, and it's making life hard and ugly. And then Berlin is supposed to be a metropolis and wants to attract talent like Daniele and you, of course. And who wants to come if it's a big problem to, I don't know. I mean, unemployment is just a part of work. And if you want to come for work, then you don't want to hassle with bureaucracy. And something which my dream was that maybe this thing could be even more. First, it is multilingual. Somebody asked about language and translation, and this GTP knows right off the bat how to translate things, and not just between English and German, but also Spanish, Italian. You tried it in Italian, and yeah, it knows it right off the bat. But then you can, of course, combine it with translation tasks. And it makes legalese hopefully more digestible. And the dream was to find more local opportunities, maybe like loans, like project funds, like scholarships, like laws which are just applied to Berlin or just Berlin specific. That would be nice if that works together with something Daniele built, and he will tell you about what he built.
So these are some technical aspects of the project. We built a chatbot, which was powered by a large language model, in particular the GPT 3.5 Turbo. And we used the retrieval augmented generation approach, which means that we provided a large language model with additional content in order to increase the skills of the model. And the advantages of this are to have up-to-date knowledge, so we can easily create new vector stores with the last documents provided by the agency, and we can use them to chat with, we can add them to the models. We can provide multiple sources, and then we can also provide to the user what kind of sources were used to produce the answer from the large language model. And also this approach reduces hallucination from the large language models. These are some more technical aspects of the GPT model that we used. It has 175 billion parameters. Of course, it's a large model, but the disadvantage is that the training data are up to September 2021. And there are already some new things that has been introduced in the Agentura 4-byte. So this model doesn't know about this. One of them is the calculator for how much you get as an employment benefit and so on. In this phase, we use inference temperature of 0 because we wanted a very deterministic model. We were evaluating the responses and how the model performs. And of course, later on, we will change this parameter probably to 0.1, 0.2. We still don't know. It's something that we'll experiment in the future. The project was in 2 phases. One is the indexing stage, and then the following slide will be the querying stage. In the indexing stage, basically, we had all these documents that are provided by the official documents from the Agentura 4-byte, and we used the Llama Index framework, which is a framework that helps you to have custom data and have this custom data interact with a large language model, and also to interact with the answer from the model, the metadata from these documents. And the idea is that we splitted these documents in a lot of chunks of text, and then we embedded them using ADA2, which is our API, open API embedding models. And with these chunks, with these embeddings, we created a vector store, vector database, which we consider as the knowledge base that we use and provide to the large language model when we want to produce some responses. This is the other stage, the querying stage. So we have our chatbot, BureauBot, and it was implemented using Streamlit. The idea is that we have a query from the user. We use the embedding model to create an embedding for this query, and we use this query to retrieve some relevant context from the knowledge base. The idea is that this query will be associated with some chunks, some parts of these documents, and we want to retrieve these documents. So we have a relevant context. Then we merge the query and the relevant context into the prompt, and we send this to the large language model, GPT 3.5 and then we get a response from the model. At the same time, we also get some metadata, which is basically like, for now, is the page and the title of the document that have been used to generate the answer. We will provide this information to the user. We will show this in the demo. And so these 2 parts are merged, the response and the sources, and provided to the user. And now we have the demo.
When do I have to apply for? He knows the question better than me because he had a problem and he played around with this thing. You can, of course, ask anything, but then it says, I don't know, it's not in the context, because we confined ourselves to documents from Agentur für Arbeit. Work agency, and now you get an answer, and you get the documents and the pages, and you can now download them here if you want. The idea is to download the document where you found your answer, and you can even upload it again and then chat just with your document. It's a translation, and then you can chat with it, and it's summarizing the stuff you want to know, and that's the main part of this thing. Then that's it. But the idea is to have this as a backbone for something which could be integrated into something which is like a Bing search, this thing we saw before, and this thing as a backbone, which is, let's say, the locally aware language model, because then the idea is to have more than just documents from Agentur für Arbeit. You have maybe most of the legal and official documents you need in Berlin, and then you can, first you have an answer, which is on point, then you have the documents, you can download them, and if it's not about Berlin or something you want to know and it's not local, then you can go to the something like the Bing search. I tried around with LangChain, which you can use for web retrieval, which is kind of the same thing what the Bing chatbot is doing. You ask him something, he goes to the internet, and then he finds you an answer, and he gives you sources and links. And as I said, this is specifically for, now it's for Agentur für Arbeit, but this could be for Berlin and local aware stuff. And if it doesn't find something in our embedding, then it would go to the web search. And what I tried with LangChain is to confine the web search to a programmable search engine. And then it tries first to go to Berlin sites and stuff it's going to sites about Berlin and laws and German stuff and so on. So you can chain these things and say, this has a hierarchy. First our embedding, then the whatever website you want. And if it doesn't find anything, then it does a usual Google search. That's for the demo.
So the idea we started with was to have a model that was built on open source large language model or very small large language model. We discussed just before the presentation about the quantized large language model, which are kind of small. We had a few weeks for the project, so we didn't arrive that far, but we will consider this as a baseline because, of course, this uses ChatGPT, GPT, which is the best model now, one of the best, and then we will see how far we can go using different model, open source models, and so on. And so some conclusions. So we have created a bureau model that the idea is to navigate German bureaucracy. It's not the final stage, so of course now cannot be trusted 100%. You can use up-to-date information, and also provides some important parts that are like the source of the content. My German is not very good, so for me it will be difficult to read 100 pages of these kind of documents. But if you give me a paragraph or a couple of pages that I can use as reference, then I can do it. And this was the idea, just to point toward which kind of section you will have to read or in order to apply for different things in the job center. There are some limitations. We noticed that German prompt with the same sentence in German or in English with the same context retrieved, the German sentence has much higher cosine similarity. So probably the German sentence is better for retrieving this content. So we were also thinking about adding another maybe pre-trained model to translate from English to German and then search for these documents. There are also some models on Hugging Face that have been trained directly on German bureaucratical or legal language. So maybe we can try these models. Another thing that is kind of weird is that typos influence a lot the response. And this is an example. The first case, you get the normal answer. And in the second case, you get, sorry, the content, blah, blah, blah. And this is a kind of behavior that we wanted, because the difference between, I don't know, if I use ChatGPT to get some code, I can read the code, I can change the code, I can test it, I can do things with it, I can understand it. My German is not that good, so I need to trust 100% what's going on in this kind of chatbot, which means that if the chatbot is not 100% sure about what's kind of document should be used to produce the response. We want this kind of, we don't know. We don't want hallucination, because if we have hallucination in this kind of context, it will be a mess. If I submit the wrong documents, this is the consequences are much bigger than just using the wrong code. And there are a lot of experiments we are trying to think to improve this output. So we can maybe say why we don't find the information. We can say like there is a mistake or other information. And this is something that we will experiment on. Okay, and so also this is just the starting point. So we have some idea for future improvements using other large language model, Llama 2, for example, or Aleph Alpha, which is the European one, or also, as I said, some pre-trained models, quantized model on Hugging Face. We started to train one, but we didn't finish in time for today. Marco is experimenting with LangChain, as you said. So the idea is that if this information is not in our documents, then maybe we can go directly on the website of the Agentur für Arbeit to find this information. There are a lot of, if you're following these kind of topics, for example, on Twitter, there are new methods for retrieving, new retrieval techniques that coming out every day. There is a lot of things that we can try, and we will go in this direction. One of them is this hypothetical document embedding. And the idea is that the model produced an hallucination, but a controlled hallucination. And the idea is that this hallucination will be very close in the embedding space to the correct chunks of text from the documents that we want to retrieve. So we can use these kind of methods to improve the quality of the retrieval, and so the quality of the answer. The best, of course, would be to then at some point have some human evaluation. Some workers from, for example, the Agentur für Arbeit can play with the chatbot and evaluate the answers. And as you said, also add more topics, more documents, more different German administration topics, and also for other countries, maybe. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you for your attention.